Many years ago, ToughPigs.com began a great tradition of arguing about the Muppets on the internet. Now, ToughPigs has assembled a team of Muppet experts from all over the world for a summit on the state of the Muppets. This is the Great Muppet Fandom Panel! Hello and welcome to the Fall 2022. Hello?
Say, have you ever noticed
Panelists?
how we try
Anti-capitalist.
Friends?
What about the senior citizen demographic?
lot?
They Fanny Nestle Road.
Thank you. Hello and welcome to the Fall 2022 edition of the Great Muppet Fandom Panel from ToughPigs.com. This is a panel discussion show during which you'll hear highlights from the Hennes headlines discussed by a panel of the internet's top Muppet experts. It's sort of like we're doing a quarterly report on Jim Henson's characters and legacy, except we're not judging anything by how profitable it is. We can only judge quality. And even then, who are we to judge? We can't do that. This is nothing like a quarterly report. How dare you say that? It's just a big picture overview of what's going on with the Muppets, explained and debated by a panel that changes from episode to episode. Each of our panelists has brought a discussion question for us, and I prepared one as well. These could be about anything related to Jim Henson or the Muppets, but our main topics will be the Muppets at D23, Sesame Street the Musical, and Craig Shemin's new book about Sam and Friends, appropriately called Sam and Friends. Let's introduce the panelists. From the ToughPigs.com team, he's the one and only genuine, nobody-back guaranteed, Shane Keating.
Oh, hello. I'm Shane Keating, just like that guy said. I don't know his name, but he seems swell.
Next, I just stole her title as the newest member of the ToughPigs team. Good grief, the comedians of Beth Cook.
Hey, happy to be here.
And ToughPigs co-owner, that most popular and appealing platter of Ryan Roe.
Yes, hi, it's me, Ryan Roe. He was correct when he said that was my name.
And I'm JD Hansel. Thank you. Beth, as I just mentioned, you're relatively new to ToughPigs, but it feels like you've already become such a big part of what ToughPigs does. Can you tell us what experiences you've had since joining that stand out as highlights to you? And are you able to talk about what's coming up in 2023 without giving too much away?
Ooh. Well, first, thank you so much. That's so flattering. Honestly, the coolest part so far was when I got to hang out with Joe and Julia in person. Joe and his wife were taking a road trip, and when they swung through Portland, we went out to brunch together, and there was surprisingly little Muppet talk, but there was a lot of talk about TV in general and media analysis, and it was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely connecting with all of the other ToughPigs folks on a more professional level has been fantastic.
That's so weird because ToughPigs people famously hate each other, can't stand talking to each other, never would dare speak to one another.
There's not a word yet for old friends who can't stand each other.
Ryan, on moving right along, you talk about Muppet movies 2 minutes at a time. Which 2 minutes of Muppets in a movie are the best 2 minutes?
Ooh, I mean, I could probably narrow it down to something in the Great Muppet Caper if I really looked at our list of 2-minute clips, because that's my favorite Muppet movie, and there are scenes in that I just consider to be like such a pure distillation of what the Muppets do. So something in the Great Muppet Caper.
Ryan, are you telling me that you're a caper boy?
Yes, I believe you coined that phrase when you were a guest on our podcast recently. And yes,
I did.
Yes, I'm a caper boy.
I'm sticking with it, and I'm forcing it upon people, whether they like it or not. Hey, Shane, what's the most Muppetational shot you've ever tweeted from the One Muppetational Shot account?
Oh, that's a good question. Gonzo with his nose stuck in the elevator from the Great Muppet Caper, maybe.
Oh, you're a caper boy too, right?
I'm a caper man.
Oh,
Okay.
well, excuse us. It is now time for the Great Muppet Question. Panelists, are you ready?
Yes.
Baby.
Great! This episode's Great Muppet question is, what stories and secrets from Muppet history do you hope you'll learn more about in the next books by Craig Shemin?
You know, I would like to learn who this Jim Henson guy is. Because I don't know if you've read this newest book, Sam and Friends, a story of Jim Henson's first television show. But this Jim Henson guy, he's on the cover. His name is all in like almost every page of this thing.
Right.
But like, I still don't get who this guy is. What did he do? What was his purpose? I don't have a good understanding of who he is. And I hope Craig can elaborate on that in future installments.
I think it's one of those stories that assumes you're going to know why the main character is so important without feeling that they actually have to delve into who they are as a person or what they did with their lives. It's a very frustrating thing.
Exactly. It's like Spider-Man 3 assumed I saw Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Yeah, and Jim Henson just figures out how to do all these things on his own. Like, Jim Henson is such a Mary Sue in that book.
I don't even know what to say to that. Ryan, what stories and secrets from Muppet history do you hope we'll learn more about in the next books by Craig Shemin?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of information out there. The Sam and Friends book, I think, is like 600 pages. It has so much information about the early phase of Jim Henson's career. You know, we've heard in other books and things about Jim Henson's life and the careers and lives of his collaborators. But you know what we really haven't heard anything about is how Jim Henson and his collaborators decorated their bathrooms. Like, what color were Jim's shower curtains? Did Jerry Jewell have little decorative soaps next to his sink? What color were Don Celine's hand towels? Did Frank Oz ever have those little adhesive, slip-resistant flowers that you stick to the bottom of your bathtub? These are the things that we have always wanted to know, but we still don't know. No one is telling this story. It hasn't been in a museum exhibition. It hasn't been in a documentary. Nothing. So really what I want is like a 900-page book all about the Muppet people and their bathrooms. And it should probably come with a download code for like some kind of VR app where you can get a virtual tour of all of their bathrooms. And then maybe also just an animal toothbrush, because I had one when I was a kid and it was cool and I liked it and I want another one.
I agree. Jim Henson's linoleum tiles should be hanging up in the Museum of the Moving Image.
Yeah. Where's the tile?
La 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 linoleum. Beth?
So, unlike every other woman in her 30s, apparently, I'm really not a fan of true crime. But here's what I need. I need a true crime documentary about whoever designed, greenlit, and created the specific style of human puppets used in The Ghost of Fafner Hall and Jim Henson's Mother Goose stories. These unnerving creatures from hell have wreaked havoc on our psyches for decades now, and I need to know, who are these people that brought these monstrosities to life, and are they currently being held accountable for their crimes?
Wow.
They
Are you
ought to
picturing
be.
a documentary or like a dramatization where very dramatic music plays while you see one of the Muppet Workshop people in slow motion sculpting one of these heads?
Definitely both. So like the documentary style with, interspersed little reenactment scenes.
Reenactments. Oh, yeah. I like it.
Well, then that can be only Muppets in the building.
Perfect. We'll get Steve Martin back on board.
Sure.
But then ToughPigs does actually have to do the true crime podcast.
No,
That'll go along with-
don't worry about that part. ToughPigs doesn't have to handle that. The Muppet Mindset has that covered.
Oh, okay. All right. We're good.
They will. I've been assured that they will handle all of that aspect.
Yeah, I actually only agreed to join ToughPigs on the condition that we didn't handle anything that had to do with Ghosts of Fafner Hall. That was all on the Muppet Mindset.
That's in your contract.
Absolutely. Beth, is it not in your contract?
You got a contract?
Oh, never mind.
I got a
we
bag
reviewed-
of Twizzlers.
Everyone loves Twizzlers.
I got a per diem.
I think we did review like 4 episodes of Fafner Hall, and we were considering reviewing all of them, and then we realized that nobody really wanted to watch them all, and nobody wanted to read about them all. So
I'm
Sorry
currently
if you
doing
get a
exactly
Fafner.
that.
It's true. You and I did ours together, Ryan.
Yes, exactly.
We did not enjoy it.
No.
Beth, how far are you into that show?
I have gone through episode 3 so far. Once you get used to it, is not as horrifying as I might have thought. I think, honestly, it's a wasted opportunity because the concept is great. And I love that it's an entire show just dedicated to music and what it is and how it works and how you make it and who can make it. The funniest moment was when I always have the captions on, and in my first watch of episode 1, I was like, okay, this is the opening song. These are the lyrics to that opening song. Episode 2, different lyrics.
Huh.
It didn't have anything about, like, squelching in there?
Well, no, what you heard
She wasn't
was
watching Stranger Things.
What you heard was exactly the same, but it was very clear that in episode 1, those lyrics were transcribed by a human being. And in episode 2, those lyrics were transcribed by an AI.
Ah. So did it get the lyrics totally wrong?
Not totally wrong, but every once in a while, you'd get a line that was just not a thing that anyone would ever say.
Yeah, that's always fun. Have you seen the Inner Tube pilot that eventually led to the Jim Henson Hour?
Ooh, not yet. I'm
That's
also
probably...
rewatching the Jim Henson Hour.
Oh, okay, because that's probably the peak of those really weird-looking sculpted Muppet heads, because those are very unsettling, those characters in that.
I don't think it helps that the only copy of that's out there is so, like, poor quality.
Yeah, it's like a copy of a copy that was leaked from somewhere.
Yeah, so
I mean,
not the best way to see those puppets.
if the characters are blurred and pixelated out, isn't that a mercy? I think that might be a kindness.
Yeah, maybe it would be worse if we could see them more clearly.
No, I want Glitch in 1080p.
Well, Glitch is fine, because he's just like a fuzzy green computer graphic.
I want Crasher in 1080p.
Yikes.
Thanks for playing along, gang. Our real Great Muppet question is this. Should the Muppet companies focus more on special in-person events, like what they've been doing lately, or dedicate their time to productions that are more accessible to folks who can't travel to these events? I'm not asking this question with any bias as someone who wasn't able to go to the things we're discussing.
Is that a slam at me? Because I appear to be the only one who went to any... Well, I didn't go to D23, but I'm the one who went to the other ones.
It's not a slam, but it is a nudge.
So I am a person who, until recently, lived in New York City, where a lot of these in-person events happen. And then I moved away from New York City. So now I am not where all of these in-person events happen. And I really do miss it, because normally I used to live in Queens. I was 7 subway stops away from the Museum of the Moving Image. So I could get to these things so easily. And now I would have to book a flight on a plane and go to the airport and get on a plane, et cetera, et cetera. But also at the height of the pandemic, when we were all in lockdown, there were a lot of these online virtual events, either things that were like live on Zoom and anybody could come in and watch, or things that were recorded and streamed later. So I think it would be good if there was something kind of in between the two. I understand why they are not streaming an event live from the Museum of the Moving Image, because they want people to come and buy tickets. But I also think it would be great if they would record that and then stream it later. I would even pay to watch that stream at a later date. It could be up temporarily, it could be up permanently, whatever. But yeah, I think that would be a good compromise.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of events are you specifically referring to for this topic?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because a peek behind the curtain, he has a list that we can see. So something like that Museum of the Moving Image event about the new Craig Shemin book, that is sort of somewhat of a different animal than, say, Sesame Street the musical, or the D23 Christmas Carol thing that they did.
True. It's the Muppets probably do need to keep appearing in these places where characters are expected to appear. I think that we would all be annoyed if the Muppets didn't have enough presence at D23, and in some respects they didn't. We'll get to that.
Well, and we have been annoyed in past years when they haven't been at D23.
And, of course, you want some Muppet presence at Comic-Con. And in theory, you want Muppets on a stage in some way. We'll talk about whether or not this is the way in which we wanted it. But also, when a new book is coming out, I think I agree with Ryan that is the kind of thing where it's like, it's very neat to see that in person, and it's really cool that there are events like these that can bring a lot of Muppet fans together in person. But I also really want to have access to some online version of this thing.
Yeah. And there are occasionally, like there's the Traveling Jim Henson Museum exhibition where sometimes they'll have events in the cities where that travels to. But I guess they can always, they probably know for sure that people will always come and buy enough tickets to an event in New York City or Los Angeles. Maybe there's less of a guarantee that people are going to show up in large crowds in, I don't know, Denver, Colorado, or wherever.
Right.
So,
apologies to those in Denver. In case Ryan offended anyone.
I love Denver. Yeah, no, Denver is great. But it's just, I have a feeling it's probably not on the radar of the Muppet people or the Sesame people or the Henson people for live events. So, I don't know, but it would still be nice if every once in a while they would do a screening or a panel or something in another major city somewhere other than New York or LA.
It's so weird that they don't go to Denver, since they did a whole album and 2 specials about Denver.
Oh, yeah. They could take a Rocky Mountain holiday.
Are there Rocky Mountains in Denver, Colorado?
There are a bunch of places.
I think that every time there is one of these big Muppet events, I see a lot of folks online whose response is, "Aw, I'll never get to go there. They never come to me." But... yeah. You also want them to be able to come to someone somewhere, because they are puppets, and those are a really neat thing to experience in person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even watching an event streaming on the internet is not the same as seeing a puppet. I mean, especially a Muppet live in the room in front of you. Since
I feel like my question has been thoroughly dismantled, I am going to start steering this discussion towards Muppet news now. But before I do... No, thank you for that. That's fine. Chaos is appropriate on a Muppet podcast. Before I do that, I'd like to remind everyone at home that we're not covering all the Muppet news on this show. This isn't a weekly updates show, so if you're looking for that, listen to another podcast. However... if you'd like to stay up to date on everything happening in the Muppet world as it's happening, make sure you're following ToughPigs.com on Twitter, Facebook, and wherever social networks are sold.
I can't believe that we're not talking about that big, huge announcement that happened after we recorded this episode, but before it got posted. How could we miss that?
The thing is, I'm sure that will happen.
Yes.
And that's a very stressful thing.
I cannot believe that Miss Piggy did that on The Masked Singer.
Wow, yeah.
That thing.
Slack-jawed I was.
Yeah. And I think I heard that Jenny McCarthy is going to sue her for that, so.
I would not blame her.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was actually what I was going to say about that topic is that kind of middling ground between the Muppets doing things that have like digital access for everyone and the Muppets doing in-person events that only a few people can attend is this. I get that the Muppets have to remain relevant and, appear on current shows, whether you're expecting it or not. It's great if it's just like, oh my gosh, there's a Muppet on the Great British Baking Show or whatever it is. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Okay, I'm crossing my fingers for that. Anyway, I haven't seen a lot of is making really good choices in which shows those are based on who on the show is going to interact with the Muppets. Because just because a show is popular doesn't mean it works well with Muppet interactions. Like, you can tell when the host is, smooth and engaging when they're talking to the regular audience, and then all of a sudden they're talking to a Muppet, and it's awkward and weird and feels... We know it's scripted, but it feels scripted.
Yeah.
It's okay, Beth. You can say holy moly. We know what you're talking about.
Thank you. I had forgotten.
You don't have to hide it. They're not going to come after us.
Sometimes it's the writing, though, right? Because all those holy moly bits were scripted, right?
If they were,
seemed like they were.
That's less good.
Well, yeah.
Dramatically changing topics, on September 24th, Jim Henson's birthday, the long-awaited book Salmon Friends, the story of Jim Henson's first television show by Craig Shemin, was finally released. Now, to be clear, it was not that this was the story of Jim Henson's first television show by Craig Shemin. This is the book is never mind. If you've had time to start looking through it, what do you all think about this book? Have you learned anything that's changed how you think about the history of Jim Henson and the Muppets, the meaning of Jim Henson and the Muppets, or just anything interesting?
I haven't got my hands on the book yet. I read through Anthony's book review, which was great, and yeah, I love that we get to hear more from Jim's wife, as she's usually referred to, Jane, and how much she really had to do with the show, which I didn't know. I knew that she was involved with it. I knew that she was his co-puppeteer, but I didn't realize how much she was involved and how much she contributed, and that's great.
Yeah, her role has been downplayed in a lot of the history, the retellings of the Muppets, where the Salmon Friends era kind of gets glossed over. It's like Jim Henson had a TV show in Washington, D.C., and it kind of, you don't really hear a lot about Jane Henson. So that is a really good thing about the book.
Well, I just liked learning all of these sort of, like, the way that they put the show together and, like, new factoids about it. Like, I don't want to give too much away, but, you hear all about the monitor system that Jim sort of developed during that show. But when they were doing the early Wilkins Coffee commercials, they were shooting that on film, and the technology didn't exist yet for the film camera to go to an external monitor. So they had to put up a giant mirror under the camera so they could get like an approximation of what the shot looked like. And like, you never would have thought of that until reading this book.
It's amazing that we know so much about Jim Henson. We have learned so much about Jim Henson. And then this book comes along that is about 600 pages, and it's so much stuff that we've never heard before. And I think there's a lot of overlap between Muppet nerds and people who are just general nerds for how entertainment is made. And there's so much stuff about it's as I think I've maybe said this on social media or elsewhere, but it's as much a history of how people figured out how to make TV in the early days as it is a history of the first Muppet production. So like the stuff about they're in a hotel auditorium on a stage, and just they have one camera and they're wheeling it around to different spots on the stage for every show that they have. Like I love that stuff. That's not even specific to the Muppets, but I just eat that stuff up.
So question about that almost 600 pages. Is it mostly that kind of cool information, or is it mostly pretty glossy photos, or is it a good balance of the two?
There are, they say 150 photos. They are very spread out, especially in the second half of the book, which is the episode guide, because there are only so many photos that they can like pinpoint to specific episodes of that era. But the photos they do have are really, really good.
And the episode guide is that's the kind of thing we never thought we would get. Like, this stuff that was pretty much lost until Craig started researching the book, from what I understand.
And to add to your point before, Muppet nerds and TV nerds, this is also like for music nerds, because it's just like a big list of all these songs and like novelty tracks from the 50s and 60s. Like they did Alvin and the Chipmunks songs on Salmon Friends. Who would have thought?
Shane, did you see anything exciting at the big release event for this book at the Museum of the Moving Image on Henson Day?
Yes, I was there, as was Joe Hennes and various other Matthew Soberman and other luminaries from the Muppet fan world.
Disrespect to everyone you forgot to mention. Wow.
Oops.
No, it really, looking on Twitter and stuff, like it seemed like a lot of people were there. I think it was, it's a very exciting new thing that's coming out. And then I think also because there was like at least a year when the Museum of the Moving Image was essentially closed.
That is
this
true.
Seemed like, the first really big event that they've had.
There was like at least 100 people there.
Yeah, somehow word got out about this one. Like, because people from other states were coming to New York, just like planning trips just to go to this event. I saw Bob McGrath was there.
He was
there.
That's
exciting.
Yes, I was one of 3 people who was there with a Kermit the Gorf T-shirt somehow, which is highly improbable.
Well, not at that kind of event, though.
Mm-hmm. We did get to see the world premiere, quote unquote, of the long lost Sam and Friends episode.
That's what I was going to ask about.
That was touted beforehand, and it was not something you would have expected because it was an animated episode.
Oh.
So there was no puppets in it at all. It was a spoken word like jazz track called Miss Cone, and it's about this guy sort of describing his love for a woman, Miss Cone, and it's all done with these cutout shapes. Like if you've seen any other like Jim Henson like stop motion animation, it's kind of like that.
Like the early Sesame Street animations that
with like the paint and everything,
right,
and like moving cutout shapes. It was like that, and I thought it was adorable, and I'm so glad that they found it.
Do you think there were people when that episode aired who were like, what do they do? Like, what is Jim Henson's deal? He should stick to puppets. Why is he doing this animation?
I think that's in the way that they found it was that it got brought up in a newspaper.
Oh, that's fine.
After it aired. Yeah, I think they had the film and they like knew of it, but they didn't realize that it was a Sam and Friends thing until Craig was researching the book and found that newspaper listing.
Oh.
There was also a panel for the book.
Yeah, a very, very small panel. It was Deputy Director, I think is her title right now, Barbara Miller, who you might recognize from the Prop Culture episode on the Muppet movie.
Ah.
She was in that.
That was so great.
It was. She just talked after they did a compilation of like all the surviving Sam and Friends clips. In between, they had like some Wilkins Coffee ads, and it was all in high definition. It looked wonderful. And after all that, Barbara Miller talked with Craig about the book. They presented Emily. Oh, is it Emily Engel?
Yes, that's the.
I pronounced it right. She made a custom Sam doll that they prominently put on stage, and it looked adorable. And
possibly the first time that character has ever looked adorable, because that puppet is not cute in the traditional Muppet way.
No, he's not. Wood is not cute, and I will put that on the record. Pinocchio, you are not cute. You are Wood.
But in comparison to latex characters in, say, Ghosts of Fafner Hall, I think maybe
they might as well be Wood.
Oh wow. Hot wood takes coming from Shane tonight.
Who would win in a beauty contest between Sam and Farkas Fafner?
Sam.
Okay, then.
It's no contest.
There was also a panel for the book at Comic-Con featuring Craig Shemin, along with Henson archivist Susie Tofty, puppeteer Ryan Dillon, puppet builder Raleigh Cruson, Muppet fan artist Dave Haltine, and some guy named Joe. Can you all tell me what happened at this panel?
I think I read that Craig Shemin put Joe in a headlock.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say about it.
That was the big highlight.
Yeah, but he deserved it because of what he did to those puppets.
It's true.
We are unable to talk about that panel at this time due to a scheduling conflict. That scheduling conflict that's in the future at the time of this recording. However, I should at least address that Comic-Con also has a Muppets Mayhem panel, a Sesame Street the Musical panel. We're all very happy to see lots of good Muppet representation at Comic-Con.
One of the things, so many years when there's been nothing at all Muppety at New York Comic Con. So yeah, having more than one is a miracle.
It's great. It's great. That it feels like everybody's represented. The Henson people, the Muppet people, the Sesame people.
Yeah, all at the same event, the same con.
It's wonderful. It's
and
really
I'm going to use
wonderful.
my psychic powers to look into the future and see that the Sam and Friends event went really well. That was the panel of the entire convention. Everyone was talking about it.
Absolutely. One of the things we look for at these sorts of events is things you can buy with Muppets on them, which are sometimes easier to find at cons than in other places. Sometimes, maybe. I don't know, at least when there are Muppet fan artists there. Two of you brought questions related to Muppet merch for your discussion questions, and I'd like to shift to that topic right now. I'm going to have Shane go first, and then before we get too far in answering Shane's question, Beth's question is actually relevant to contextualizing Shane's question in a way. So one right after another, starting with Shane. What discussion question have you brought for us?
Whoa, you used so many big words right then. I
know.
barely comprehended you.
I know. I'm rambly. I'm sorry. I'll read
Let's
it from the script exactly.
What is a Shane? Okay, so, my question is, what is a piece of Muppet merchandise that does not exist that you think should exist? And I'm excluding things like, Musicians of Bremen should be on Blu-ray. Nothing like home video. Like, what is another kind of piece of merchandise that doesn't exist that you think should exist?
Well, I have an answer which is kind of cheating because we just talked about this on Moving Right Along. But the first thing that comes to mind is, inspired by Muppet Christmas Carol, there should be an officially licensed Statler as Jacob Marley door knocker that actually works as a door knocker. Apparently, somebody on Etsy has made some that look really good, like they look exactly like Statler as Jacob Marley as a door knocker, but they do not actually work as door knockers. So they should make a real one that you can put on your front door and hopefully nobody will steal it.
Or at the very least, have you seen those, the door knockers in Labyrinth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They became earrings with the little rings.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's cute.
at the very least, you could do that with Jacob Marley.
Yeah.
But will it wail at you? Or is it just a functional door knocker?
Yeah, how much more could it possibly cost to make a Jacob Marley door knocker that goes, "Whoa." So yeah, they should do that.
Good.
Well, he says Scrooge, so maybe you would have to record your own so that it says your voice in a creepy tone when someone rings your
Or you
doorbell.
could wire it to your Ring doorbell camera so you can see who's approaching to ring your doorbell or knock on your door, and then you can say their name.
Perfect.
Or Peter Linz has to record every single name on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
So that they can say
He's
He's such a sweetie. He'd
right?
probably do it.
There was a talking Elmo doll that said everybody's name, right? So there's a precedent.
I think they need to merchandise what we don't see, which is on the opposite side of the door is the Waldorf knocker.
Yeah, poor Waldorf. He didn't get to be a door knocker.
And this is the kind of thing that merch can fix.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking that he could be the door handle because his face is a little rounder.
Yes.
And then you could just grab him when you're feeling angry.
Haven't we all wanted to grab Waldorf's face from time to time?
I mean, he does have a salad.
Salad tongs.
Waldorf salad tongs.
Yeah.
Statler and Waldorf salad tongs, where one side is Statler and one side is Waldorf. Perfect.
Disney, are you listening? They're not listening. Since you mentioned the Labyrinth door knockers, has everyone seen the T-shirt?
Oh,
There's a million T-shirts. Be more specific.
But remind me.
I've seen my T-shirts.
The T-shirts that are officially licensed merchandise, that are the door knockers from Labyrinth placed on the T-shirts. It's a knockers T-shirt.
Right.
This is the
That
thing that
got officially licensed?
it's a thing that really exists. I'm pretty darn sure it's officially
That's
licensed.
so weird that they would use the Labyrinth characters for a Young Frankenstein T-shirt.
Right?
Does it say anything, or it's just images of the
It's just
door knockers?
images. You figure
yeah, okay.
out the pun on your own.
Yeah, no, that's
with
better,
your
though, at
intelligence.
least.
It's very cerebral.
If it said, like, what
Yes,
knockers,
you have to
then that
be
would
so
be
intelligent and sophisticated.
to stare at the shirt. And eventually, if you're smart enough, after staring at the shirt long enough, you realize that it is in fact a joke.
Well, and then you realize that you've been staring at it a little too long, and you should stop staring at it.
So speaking of shirts, my thing that should exist that does not is Ernie and Bert sweaters.
Yeah.
Why are there no
Oh.
officially licensed Bert and Ernie sweaters?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That seems so obvious.
Like, you can get sort of approximations on like Halloween costumes, but there's no like a practical sweater that looks like one that Ernie and Bert would wear.
I mean, that is every gay couple's Halloween costume goals right there.
It would make it so easy for them.
Are you listening, Sesame Workshop?
Yeah,
Huh?
well, that feels like it could be within our grasp someday. It's the kind of thing, like 20 years ago, we would just sit around and go, man, they should really make something like that. But it would never get made. You would have to make your own at home if you wanted something like that. But I do think that companies, I know, I hate using words like IP and brand, but I think companies who own characters like this have more of an awareness now of how much people love the characters and how much they love these little details and how much money they might be willing to pay to own things like Bert and Ernie sweaters.
Yeah. Beth, the discussion question you brought is relevant to these things.
Yeah, so I started with a similar question about, what do we want out of Muppet merchandise? And then, of course, because I'm the Fraggle nerd, I was specifically thinking about the figurines that we've seen some images from Boss Fight Studios coming out about. They're going to have Gobo and Red and I think Flange Doozer? One of the
Okay.
Doozers.
I think that's it.
May I jump in?
Please do.
It's what I was reading said something about Red, Gobo, Uncle Traveling Matt, and a Doozer 2-pack. But the merch that they've already released from this so far is just a Flange Doozer action figure. It doesn't just
Everyone's
say...
favorite character.
It doesn't just say
And?
Doozer, and if you look at it, you go, oh, they used Flange as the model. No, it's specifically branded to this specific Doozer, which I don't even know how to process that. I'm very happy.
Hashtag justice for Cotter Pin.
Yeah,
I
like
think
Agreed.
there will probably be a lot of people though who vaguely remember having fond memories of Fraggle Rock, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Flange Doozer, I love that guy." Like they want to just seem like they remember Fraggle Rock better than they actually do.
Well, I just feel like the layman would not know who Flange Doozer is, but they know Doozers like to work,
Yeah,
and Flange is like a hardware sounding name. So they would think, oh, how cute. His name is Flange Doozer. So like that kind of thing.
So
Yeah.
the more specific question that I wanted to dive into with, Muppet merchandise in general, but specifically Fraggle Rock, is that a lot of the merchandise that gets made for, fandoms is plastic figurines and t-shirts. Like, those are two of the really big ones. And plastic is not a sustainable product, and we hear a lot about fast fashion, and I'm wondering if these kind of merchandise that we really want as fans, is that antithetical to not just Fraggle Rock's messages of environmentalism, but all of the Henson stuff had that theme running through it.
so if
how
they
can I answer this question without seeming like a hypocrite?
Right? I don't know how to either.
So maybe the answer is they move away from physical products to digital products like NFTs, which are great for the environment, right?
Oh,
Absolutely. Oh, ugh.
I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that the fact that we haven't heard anything else about the Labyrinth and Dark Crystal NFTs since they were originally announced means that they're not going to happen.
That's what I'm hoping
Maybe they
too.
thought better
Boy,
of it.
I hope.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm trying to think, though. Most of the stuffed animals, those are those environmentally friendly? Plush?
Usually not. It's almost
Ah.
always like nylon that's made out of plastic.
Yeah, wow. So we should just, like, all of our Muppet stuff should be made out of paper? Biodegradable?
I mean, it's
Maybe we
When
should
you
just
think about
imagine the more
Yeah.
imaginary products.
right, exactly. So when you think about the largest companies that are responsible for, it's something like 10 companies that are responsible for some huge percentage of CO2 emissions, I don't think merchandise manufacturers are one of those companies. Like, I don't think it's one of the biggest contributors to the problem. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily a good thing. So I'm just wondering, is there potential for, more sustainable materials or, fan-made products? Like, I was searching on Etsy, and you see a lot of merchandise from the 80s, but you don't see a lot of current, like, fan-made art.
I'll say this. My new favorite piece of Muppet merchandise is a magnet that I won on Hubbawa that
Same.
was made from paper and a magnet. And I think that's not half bad. And I don't think Becca Petunia is one of the biggest contributors to climate change, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
She's got a lot of surprises up her sleeve. Mm-hmm. But those are fantastic because ours are unique.
They're one of a kind, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like NFTs, but better.
So there you go. All you fans out there who
do-
want
do
more
we-
merch, you just got to come on Hubbawa and win.
And win, yeah. You have to win.
We all have one, right?
Yeah,
All right. This is
Wait,
the winner's
really?
circle.
Is this a winners only group?
I think so.
It might be.
What a happy accident.
Hooray!
Wow.
Nice.
We're smart.
No losers here. I do like Shane's idea, though, of imaginary Muppet merchandise. Like, there's all kinds of possibilities with that. Like, this is my imaginary action figure of Crasher from Inner Tube. Isn't he cool?
This is my imaginary full body Sweetums outfit.
Wow, looks great.
Thanks.
I do think that a Marjorie the Trash Heap merchandise, that would be biodegradable, right?
Ooh.
Would have to be.
Well, if
Yeah, like an actual, like, compostable replica of Marjorie the Trash Heap.
if we all get a Marjorie replica that's made of stuff from real trash heaps, like we're getting things out of landfills and made into
Ooh.
our own Marjorie the Trash Heaps, then does that help I don't know if that helps.
It sounds better.
It
sounds
sounds
more
good to get things out of landfills.
It sounds more feasible than shooting it all into space.
True.
Yes.
And
And
then
more adorable.
it can all be recycled into the stuff on your back if you need a junk lady costume.
Perfect.
True.
So
And if you are at a loss for information, you can just go to your own personal trash heap, like a magic 8-ball, and she'll give you the answers.
there's also the possibility of turning that into your own miniature Grouchland.
Oh, wow.
The possibilities for garbage are endless.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of trash in Muppet Productions.
A
huh?
lot of trash.
I thought
in
I
Muppet
was done
Productions.
talking about Elmo and Grouchland, but now that you mention it, I am absolutely convinced that the piles of trash that we see in Elmo and Grouchland, and in Labyrinth, where the junk ladies live, and in the episode of Back to the Rock, where we see Boober go into the trash, those are all connected, right?
This sounds like a ToughPigs article in the
It
making.
does.
It's
Oh,
like,
it's absolutely on my list of articles. to
Okay,
write.
great.
And the theme of Fraggle Rock is already that everything is connected. So
bingo.
You can
and
make
that
a very
everyone's
strong case for
trash.
that. Everyone is trash. Yes.
It's the K.D. Lang garbage universe.
Oh yeah, more trash.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh. Wow. Well done. Okay.
I don't get that one.
Keep watching the Jim Henson Hour. You will.
Ooh.
The Muppets have had a lot of. See, I was trying to come up with a joke like something about the Muppets making a lot of trash over the years.
I think
the new trash line can be introduced by Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah. Oh wait, I just figured out. Like, yeah, the Muppets have made a lot of trash over the years, like those appearances on Holy Moly.
Ah.
Whoa! He brought it back.
A little late on that one.
Wow. We're going to take a short commercial break right now. Then we'll talk some more about Sesame Street and the Disney Muppets and more. Stick around. Hey parents, grab your kids and come see the furriest musical on Broadway. The furriest musical on Not Quite Broadway. It's Not Quite Sesame Street, the Not Quite Musical. Come and see some very talented people working under very difficult circumstances to bring you some facsimile of all your favorite Sesame Street pals, including Not Quite Elmo. I speak in the first person. Not Quite Ernie. Not Quite Bert. My Staples collection. A freaky hybrid of Grover and Cookie Monster.
Oh, me, I'm so adorable.
And the face of Rosita deep-faked onto Golden Globe-winning actor James Mason.
Rosita.
But you know, if you like watching talented people working under tricky circumstances to bring you new and interesting ways to appreciate the Muppets, you don't have to go all the way to Not Quite Broadway. Visit the ToughPigs store on TeePublic for some Not Quite Muppet merchandise. Muppet fans love our Not Quite the Monster at the End of This Book t-shirt that says, "Be the monster you wish to see at the end of this book." Yes, this is a real shirt that you can buy. It's not exactly the same as the real thing, so we probably won't get sued. I must now clarify that nothing that's been said in this commercial or advertised on our store is in any way licensed by, endorsed by, approved by, or affiliated with Sesame Workshop. You could probably already tell without me saying so, but I fear lawyers. So go buy our stuff today, and remember kids, visiting our store is the only way to keep the Grovy monster away.
And me, I'm cute too.
No, you're not though.
Yes, me am.
No, I don't think you are.
Oh, yes, me am.
No.
Yes.
No. Hey Ryan, what question have you brought for us today?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I've written about this on ToughPigs on the website before, probably more than once. I don't know if I've heard everyone's take from this group, but pretty much every time a new Muppet project is announced, a special or a TV series or a movie or whatever, there are people online saying, "Why don't you just do the Muppet Show again? Come on, just do the Muppet Show, but again." And for a long time, I was on record as just being like, no, it will not work. The variety show in a vaudeville theater, nobody would watch that in the 2020s. Nobody wants to watch that. The networks have tried many times periodically to bring back the variety show. Like, does anybody remember the Maya and Marty show with Maya Rudolph and Martin Short?
I didn't see like much of it, but I do remember that being a thing.
Yeah, two of the most beloved and talented comedy entertainers. They can both sing and they're funny, and they had a variety series on NBC, I think, and it lasted for a few episodes, and then it was very quickly canceled and did not come back for another season because nobody watches variety shows.
Was it any good? Can you still watch it anywhere?
It was fine.
Is it on Peacock?
I don't know. I've never looked for it since it was on TV. But yeah, so but people just always say like, well, they should do the Muppet Show again. They should do the Muppet Show again. So I've softened somewhat in recent years, like, all right, I don't know. Maybe they should just try it, if only to prove me right. Like, they should try it, and when it gets canceled quickly, I can tell everyone I told you so. But, so yes, my question is just, what do you all think of bringing back the Muppet Show? Like, just the original format, the original setting, and do you think it would work?
Okay, so my take is that maybe not as a series, because people are gonna make unfair comparisons to the original.
Yeah.
But now here is a hot take, perhaps. You know, it was the best part of It's a Very Merry Snowtime Winter Jamboree Muppet movie.
Well
Are
done.
you going to say it was the Christmas variety show?
Yes, the part where they are doing their Christmas show. Because I love the idea of the Muppets like being like the Radio City Music Hall of wherever they are and putting on like an annual Christmas spectacular. And that makes me think you could easily do the Muppet Show as a holiday special format.
As a special, I could see it working because that would be like a one-time thing that they could advertise it a lot and people would be like, oh, here's this one cool thing that I want to watch on Disney Plus. That might work.
Yeah, and like if the Muppets Go to the Movies was ostensibly a Muppet Show special, but about movies, and that worked very well. They could easily translate that similar idea to a different concept, but keep the Muppet Show base to it.
You know that similar trend where you see, take an existing movie, keep one actor, replace the rest with Muppets, and, us diehard fans start picking apart all the reasons why that's not going to work, realistically speaking.
People love those, though. Those tweets, like every single time that gets tweeted, it's just...
Yep. And we get tagged in it, inevitably.
Yeah.
I would love to see a special where the Muppets go meta and try to incorporate all of this, here's what the Muppets should do, from casual fans, and we see it fall apart in hilarious ways because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Oh,
that would be funny.
Oh my gosh, that's the best idea I've heard for a Muppet production yet. Like, the Muppets do...
TM, hire me to write it.
The Muppets do whatever Muppet fans say. And it all goes wrong.
Like, Scooter is sitting there watching what people are saying about the Muppets on Twitter and just...
Yep.
And constantly telling Kermit, like, okay, this is what we have to do. We have to do this instead.
Oh my god.
It'll be just like that one episode of the Jim Henson Hour.
Yeah, pretty much.
About the ratings.
Oh. So there's a pattern emerging in this conversation in which things keep unexpectedly being Jim Henson Hour episodes. I'm getting very scared. Are we in the Jim Henson
just
Hour
like
episode
was
and we
in
just don't know?
In that ghost story? In the Buster Poindexter episode?
Did you make a Jim Henson Hour podcast without meaning to? We've all done
no! Oh, that's my worst nightmare. Wait, I forget there are people on this call who really like the Jim Henson Hour. I forget that I can't just assume that everyone dunks on it as much as I do.
There are
person on this call who really like the Jim Henson Hour. People? There are people? There are people on this call who really like the Jim Henson. Okay, wow.
No, I like it too. I don't love it, but I like it.
Wow, okay, fine. What's sort of like a Muppet show? When the Muppets perform at D23.
I was thinking the same exact statement.
Really? Wow.
No.
Okay. Speaking of Muppets doing a Christmas show, though, we got to see Muppets performing a Christmas song and doing fun Christmas things at a Muppet Christmas Carol panel at D23. I wasn't expecting that. I assume this was mostly just a way for them to make a big deal out of the cut of Muppet Christmas Carol that they're putting on Disney Plus soon, which has When Love Is Gone restored. I don't know if there's anything else in this cut that's going to be restored, like if there's anything else new to it, or if it's just that When Love Is Gone is back. Okay. All right. I mean,
once that has been done, I want people to start campaigning for the full Marley and Marley song to go back in the movie.
Oh, yeah, they should do that too.
Because that footage does exist, and it has been used in TV broadcasts, and you can find it on YouTube.
Nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah, but no one ever knows that it's real.
Maybe they could do a promo video where they shoot Bunsen and Beaker singing their song that was only on the soundtrack.
That would have been fun.
They could do it. They could just rebuild like a version of Scrooge's office set, or just like do it on a green screen or something.
Use that AR wall from Muppets Muppets Haunted Mansion, not Muppets Most Haunted.
Yeah, I guess that's what everything is going to be from now on, right? No more sets.
So I've never seen these missing minutes, but do they include the Waldorf door knocker?
They do not.
Unfortunately.
And do they include the knocker's t-shirt?
Oddly enough, they do.
Oh, all right. Thoughts on the D23 stuff?
Oh yeah,
Nina West was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were obviously thrilled to see live Muppets in the room with them, as we were discussing earlier. That's always very exciting, and yeah, I think it was a good way to bring attention to the 30th anniversary and the new version and all that.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna promote, hey, we're adding this new cut of the movie to the streaming service, I mean, they went all out. Like, they had special guests, they had behind the scenes pictures and stuff. They had new musical performances.
Yeah, and they were all in their costumes.
We had singing foods.
Yeah,
That
who
was
saw that
great.
coming?
The audience loved the singing foods from all the videos I've seen.
And thank you, Shane, for collecting as much stuff about this as you did, all the videos and things.
I tried my best.
I really like that they didn't just stick to the main puppets to the main characters that people knew, but were interested in bringing in food and penguins and such. And I'm really glad that the audience responded to that so well, because in that kind of live setting, you can see what's coming. Like, you don't have the advantage of what's outside the frame being totally invisible. I mean, unless they're seated far enough back, but people can see what's coming, and yet when all these other puppets pop into frame, everyone gets really excited. And
Yeah,
this further proves my point that the Muppets are not just about the main characters or even about characters we know, but are about puppets doing Muppety things. And when puppets do Muppety things and they're cute, people will react positively.
Oh yeah, it's this thing that I lose sight of sometimes, where like people who aren't us, who aren't thinking about the Muppets every day, they might not even remember that there's Muppet singing food and Muppet penguins. So when they are suddenly reminded of that, it's so like, oh yeah, wow, Muppet penguins, that's hilarious.
I mean, I don't even know that it is that hilarious, and yet I'm glad other people think so.
I mean, to the average person, I think it is very funny to see a Muppet penguin. Were the penguins wearing clothes in this? I don't remember.
I think they were just
They
wearing
had
like
little scarves.
Yeah.
Little scarf. Okay,
hats.
yeah. A Muppet penguin wearing a scarf, singing and dancing. I mean, that's, to the average person, that's comedy gold.
If you don't live where penguins are just objectively funny.
Right.
And then if you turn
Yes.
that into a Muppet, extra
The
delightful.
Muppet fans at the South Pole were not as amused by that, but everyone else loved
Yeah,
it.
Jared Fairclough was very
Penguins
bored.
in Australia and southern Chile and Argentina, I think. I think the format that they used for celebrating, this big anniversary of A Muppet Christmas Carol could easily be replicated when other big anniversaries come by of beloved Muppet stuff.
Muppet Treasure Island,
Yeah, it's just a few years away, that 30th anniversary.
then Muppets from Space.
I don't know if everyone will be that excited about that anniversary, but
They can get Rob Schneider back.
no, they can't.
But I think it was a good balance of celebrating the old stuff and introducing the new stuff, because that panel on Muppet Mayhem was good. Like, it made me feel optimistic about the show.
Yeah, I'm so cautiously optimistic about Muppets Mayhem.
I have faith in the system now that they are sort of having performers more involved, not necessarily like they're the ones writing, but they are getting more input creatively from the performers,
Mm-hmm.
that they have more knowledge of these characters, so they'll be able to say more of, oh, this is something Floyd wouldn't do, so they'll avoid sort of making a bad show about Floyd.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can really tell when something is written by people who have experience in screenwriting, but not experience in writing for the Muppets. it's a different monster, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, no, it's a very specific thing.
At this time, I'd like to remind everyone early, mid-episode, that you should rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff, do all of the good podcast things, and there will come a time, maybe not right now, but at some point in your life, listener, when you are standing in a line with nothing to do. It might only be for a minute, but you'll be standing in a line with nothing to do, and you'll be thinking, there was something I was supposed to do when I'm standing in a line with nothing to do. Something I was supposed to remember that they said on a podcast, and what it is take that opportunity when you're not doing anything else to open up your podcasts app, and just make sure that you say something nice, or throw a few stars at Muppet Fan Podcasts from ToughPigs.com. That's all. That's all you need to do. And now you're going to remember. I thought
you were going to say go buy something from Brooklyn, and I'm pretty sure I heard that on a podcast too.
No one's ever said anything about that on a podcast.
I thought I heard something about buying an Easter egg for Christmas.
Okay. We're referencing too many Elmo things I haven't seen since I was a kid that I can't remember. Speaking of Elmo things that
sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, that's not our fault.
Oh.
Yes. Speaking of Elmo things that I won't remember, let's talk a little bit about Sesame Street the musical. I'm confused about what happened here. So there, I don't know how many listeners have heard the test episode for this show, but I talked a lot with my friends Jared and Becca and Muppet fan artist Richard Michael Gomez.
Have we told them how they might hear the pilot episode of this show?
It's on the Patreon. It's on the Tough Pigs Patreon. So if you become one of the Tough Pigs patrons, then you sometimes get exclusive content like that episode, which now is dated because we know more now than we knew then, but it was a lot of fun. And one of the things we speculated about is, how are they going to approach the Sesame Street musical? How's that even going to work? Is it going to be the real performers? Is it going to be puppets? Is it going to be costumes? And what we got, it seems, was, yes, puppets that look kind of like the official puppets, pretty close, but if you're picky about Muppet design, and if you're looking at close-up pictures of them, they look a little bit different, and it is not the regular puppeteers. It is talented puppeteers who are doing a good job, but they are lip-syncing to official audio, as I understand it. Only one of the three of us was there. We're relying on you a lot for this stuff tonight, Shane, but Shane, what can you tell us about Sesame Street the musical?
Well, it is a musical off-Broadway, based off of the TV show from 1969, Sesame Street. Perhaps you have heard of it.
Is it like the Jim Henson Hour?
It was a big... no.
When are we going to get the Jim Henson Hour, the musical?
Oh, it's that spin-off that they did from Don't Eat the Pictures.
The Thought Line has its own musical number.
I would love to see that.
So Sesame Street the musical is about the Sesame Street Muppets, but not a musical. They have songs, some new. There's 3 new songs, and then a whole bunch of standards. What else do you want to know?
So, and the puppeteers are hidden from view the whole time, is that right?
Yes. So the set is, there's a big wall across the entire stage, and that's where the puppeteers are hidden behind. If you are going to go see the show, the front row seats are the cheapest ones, and that is where I sat. And that is a apparently obstructed view.
Oh, no.
Because anything happening and going on in the middle of the stage, genuinely cannot see. So I heard Ernie singing Rubber Ducky in a bathtub, but I couldn't see it.
And you can always hear Ernie singing Rubber Ducky in a bathtub. You can bring up that audio whenever you want.
Yes, but in the theater, when Ernie does it, they pour bubbles down from the ceiling. Does that happen when you listen to Rubber Ducky?
Every time. Because I blow the bubbles. I get out the bubble soap and I blow the bubbles.
Yeah, that's all you need.
I applaud your gumption.
Commit to the bit.
Yeah, you're making it a 4D experience.
This is how I make up for not getting to go to in-person Muppet events. This is what you do.
So are the puppeteers lip-syncing to just the songs, or are they lip-syncing the whole time?
They are lip-syncing the entire time. There is one character, the stage manager Sheep, who is a new character for the show. He's just a standard, Sesame Street Muppet with a little headset on. They are speaking live the whole time because they are the ones that are primarily interacting with the one human person in the show.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a human person in the show.
that was my other question. It said that, pulling an audience member up to be part of the show, is that a plant who's actually an actor, or is that a genuine audience member?
It is an actor. It is not. They're not a plant in that they are sitting out in the audience. They are on stage the entire time, but they wander in on the set as if they are a lost audience member, and then they get roped into the show.
Oh, so they're not even trying to pretend that this is a real audience member.
It depends on how you look at that.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like they're not committing to the bit as much as JD blowing bubbles when he sings Rubber Ducky.
It sounds like a 6-year-old now will in the future have a realization that wasn't a real audience member.
Well, that's true. I do have to keep reminding myself, like, oh yeah, this isn't for grown-ups who have been to the theater before. This is for 2-year-olds, and this is going to be their first theater experience, and they will probably think, oh, whoa, this guy just wandered in off the street, and they pulled him into the show.
And when they announced the show, they said they were going to have all these special guests from the world of Broadway and stuff. And I think that was supposed to be what happens in the show. Like, that person would be some different, kind of like Oh Hello.
Where they would have a different famous Broadway person playing that character every performance.
I don't know if it would have been every performance.
Or rotating in.
Yeah, or rotating set. Because there are a number of jokes, quote-unquote jokes, where the person will perform something, and then one of the characters will go, wow, I don't know about your future in Broadway, but I think you're going to be a big star, Lin-Manuel, whoever you are, like that kind of thing.
But the person in this show is always the same actor as it is?
Yes, and he is not. He has some stage credits, but he is not a
star.
Yeah, you would
not.
So
that joke just doesn't exist in this incarnation.
It doesn't really land as well as it could.
Wow.
Is this not similar to the Gene Kelly episode of The Muppet Show in which a celebrity thinks he's just an audience member for a show and then gets roped into
it's kind
being
of like that
in the show?
The person in the show is much more enthusiastic about being in the show than Gene Kelly was.
But it is the end of the world.
That is true.
That
Bert
much
and
is
Ernie
still
have a whole musical number about the earth opening up and swallowing them all up whole.
Yes, and when the show finishes its run, that's it. The existence is over. We'll all be gone.
Yep.
I've heard that the obscure 90s character, and I'm probably going to even get the name wrong, Baby Tooth and the Fuzzy Funk.
You got it right.
Is in the show, or a group of characters.
The two larger ones.
Yeah.
They are in it, and
they just come out and dance.
It was so weird. I was gobsmacked the entire time, but I enjoyed it so much. So after the Count does the number of the day dance, he introduces the Sesame Street dancers, and they built new versions of those puppets.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the colors are wildly different. They look like kind of more like pocket lint.
Whoa.
Maybe they're made out of pocket lint.
They could be.
We don't know what the budget of the show was.
And there's just the two of them, and they just do a dance. And it's Boom Raku style, so the performers are in black, and they just do a little dance, and I loved it.
So does this mean that the most environmentally friendly version of Muppet merchandise is Muppets made out of pocket lint? Because I feel like we've all got access to lint. This is what Boober has been trying to tell us this whole time, to make things
and dryer lint.
out of lint. Because Fraggle Rock is the environmental show, so it all makes sense.
Do Fraggles have pockets, though? They don't have pants.
Oh, you can have pockets in shirts and cardigans
and
sweaters, yeah.
But how often do those get linty?
You'd have to ask Boober.
Boober doesn't even wear a shirt. He just has a hat. There's nothing that says hat lint.
There absolutely is. Depends on the hat.
On that gross thought, Shane, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find my things on ToughPigs.com. You can find me on Twitter as Sock Drawer. That's SOK Drawer. You can also find me on Letterboxd as Sock Drawer. Oh, and One Muppet Shot on Twitter as well to follow One Muppetational Shot.
All things to check out.
Yes.
Beth Cook, where can people find you on the internet?
You can also find me writing now and then on ToughPigs.com, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and God help me on TikTok at Beth Anna Cook.
Ryan Roe, where can people find you in person right now?
Oh, right here in this chair.
Perfect. Ryan Roe, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, believe it or not, strangely enough, also on toughpigs.com and the various associated things on the periphery of that. My podcast that I co-host with Anthony Strand is Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast where we're watching all the Muppet movies 2 minutes at a time and talking about them a lot. We are, well, by the time this comes out, we'll probably be about halfway through Muppet Christmas Carol, so that's fun to listen to. And I'm on Twitter at @MeRyanRoe and on Letterboxd at @MoviesAreNeat. And I love it when people like my Letterboxd reviews, because then it makes me feel like I'm not just shouting into the void.
You're just saying that because I'm the one who liked them.
Yes, you do. You do occasionally like my Letterboxd reviews, and I always appreciate it.
I was recently a guest on Moving Right Along. Thank you very much for having me, and unthank you for having me follow Danny Horn. Because I can't compete with that. That's just not fair.
It's not a competition, though.
I
Nobody's
know.
competing, and somebody has to follow everybody.
It's true. There should have been a buffer. I just do Danny Horn, then do Jared, then do me, and then I sound wait. A person of normal intelligence.
Explain that. What's your logic there?
No, I'm just saying, that would be a palate cleanser, because Jared would come on and just be like, I don't see Mr. Curly Twirly in this episode, so I don't like it. And then my episode comes in, and I'd have all these takes and thoughts and analysis, and then I'd feel really good about myself. Okay. Now, I'm just listening to that Danny Horn episode going, why do I even bother? Anyway, if you
by the time your episode is posted, it will have been an entire week since the Danny episode, so...
Maybe you should have upped your game.
Yeah, I know it's really on me, Shane. I know. I'm well aware. If any of you listeners would like to come at me, I'm at JD11PC on Twitter and on Letterboxd. And now, a moment of spontaneous applause for our panel of Muppet experts. Thank you. If you enjoyed this program, we hope you'll consider supporting us on Patreon. Thank you to those of you who do so now. This ToughPigs Muppet Fan Podcast was executive produced by the ToughPigs Muppet Fan Podcast executive producer, Joe Hennes. Thanks to Kenny Durkin for our incredible artwork. It makes me so freaking happy. I'd also like to thank Matthew Gatos and give a special thanks to Frank Oz, because it's always a good time to appreciate Frank. For ToughPigs.com, this is JD Hansel reminding you, as I always do, you'll never get out of the cube. Goodbye!
And I keep saying what they should really do is bring back Granny Fanny Nesselrode. Little kids are already watching Sesame Street, but what about the senior citizen demographic? They can bring back Granny Fanny Nesselrode on the show on Sesame Street, and then they could add a giant robot Granny Fanny Nesselrode to that Mecha Builders show. Just think about all the toys they could sell to old ladies, old men, me. I'm telling you, it's time for the Granny Fanny Nestle-sance.
Okay, so the thing about Elmo's Adventures in Grouchland is that it's a truly underrated piece of anti-capitalism. And I did not expect that going in, but the pièce de résistance at the end is when Elmo realizes that he has something in common with the villain. Not like, oh, we have something in common that we can bond over, but rather, oh my gosh, I have a villainous trait within myself that could turn villainous if I don't face this problem. Honestly, he doesn't get enough credit for that.
Say, have you ever noticed how we drive on a parkway, but park in a parking lot? I mean, what is the deal with that? I've never understood it. Am I right? am I left? I will be here all week. Somebody please help me. I want to go home so bad. And scene.